Greetings and welcome to another tutorial video. I am Darkling and this of course is Ark Survival Evolved. Today I will be working on a basic Quetz cage on the Art of Caden's streaming server, so stick around and hopefully you'll learn something. Okay, we're going to start the episode in the air. I generally don't build these on the ground just because of the movement of the platform. If you're in the air you get a bit up and down movement. If you're on the ground you tend to get a bit more rotational. Now I'm using a pillar to do the first placement. The reason for this is a pillar will place with one click, whereas a foundation, when you press the first click, it allows you to rotate, and with a moving platform you tend to end up with a lot of rotational as well, so you end up with quite a skewed build. This one may still be skewed. It tends to happen on Quetzal builds. I don't stress too much if it is. I don't really have the need for it to be perfect on this. This is functionality. It's going to be a boxy build. Everyone, I mean, you look around, you can tell I'm not a fan of just building boxes, but everything has its place, and Quetzal cage tends to be ideal in square. I will eventually build something that's less than square, but there's no real rush on this one. So I'm building the 5 foundations and leaving one missing, which I'm then going to fill in with a hatch frame. Now the reason for this is we still need to be able to access that platform, so we still need to be able to ride it, and I'm going to place a might not place that one actually. Now this is a variation on a design that I use a lot. I'm going to make it slightly off center. Done this build many times before, and I'll start it. I'm trying to think of where from there. I think place that one there as well. Now, because of the way I've snapped this, I'm running alongside the foundations on the side. The placement of that is very specific so that you can get the maximum length out of your ramp. Okay, so everything should be. Snap on the edge of that, yes. I'm just doing a quick check because sometimes you will do a build and things don't quite line up properly, and you'll get most of the way through, and then when you go to place an item it says too far from the platform or no foundation support or something along those lines, and that is extremely frustrating. So I'll lose those, I want some ramps. I'll add the ramps on now. Now the ramps will be kind of annoying while it's in the air, but this ramp is specifically here to get on and off. At other times, like if you've got other people joining you, you can't. I mean, normally when I get on a Quetzal, it's through the saddle. I mean, that's pretty much how I get on. But if you've got other people coming that aren't in your tribe or whatnot, they can't go through the Quetz. This is great, but if you end up on the wing like this, you'll go through the ramp, so that can be really annoying. On the ground it's not so much of a problem. So as you can see, we've got ourselves a bit of a structure going. All the foundation works in place, and we can start building up the walls. So I am going to grab those out. Looks like Jen just came on. Like I said, this is a streaming server. There's a few people that play on here. Okay, so grab the large walls out and let's start building around the sides. Now you want to make this as much glass as possible, and the reason for that is you want to be able to see where you're going. If you build this all out of metal, trust me, you'll regret it. I placed those two when I shouldn't have. Now normally I'd make this slightly wider, like out here a bit further, but I don't really have the need to. I'm just going to keep it nice and thin for now. Should work quite nicely. Okay, so I also need to be building a way of getting onto the roof, which will come from up there. And so I'll need to incorporate that in the design. Oops. A little bit of lag. This is on the opposite side of the planet for me, so a little bit of lag here and there. Want those. Definitely want some of these. Door. Those as well. Some of those. Now I always kit my Quetzal builds out with quite a lot of gear. I don't like having to mess around with anything while I'm up in the air. Now I will need to place this forward, so if it will let me. Okay, so in which case wait, are you going to hover me at higher, please? Fine, as long as you'll let me snap to the front as well. Come on. Fine. Oops. Nope. I was hoping it was going to let me grapple jump. Fine. I'll do. Okay, the reason I'm trying to expand the top is I want this as big as possible because I want to be able to land stuff on the roof. Now, I find it important to have a flyer be able to land on it for various reasons. Need some glass ramps to come down from up there. I've done this build and I usually have a Argy and a Pteranodon on board. Let's see. Will let me place. Nope. Right. I'm going to come through that area there. Now I think I might make a slight adjustment here. I need some ceilings. I think I'll pick this one up and pivot it around that corner. The reason I want to do that is I normally put the generator under the stairs, and I find that it has a habit of sticking through the roof if I do that. Not the roof, through the ceiling, and that always bothers me. I think I'm missing something. Alrighty. I drop those in place. And then come down off there. Go. Now, whenever you catch a Quetz, it's going to slide to the front of the cage, so you don't have to worry about being able to stick anything under here. I'll keep everything under here. I've got heaps of space because of the way I've pivoted this, so all my gear will end up in this corner. So that's all sorted. I'm going to go to the roof and flesh that out with what I've got left. So you want up here as big as you can make it with it, and still be able to put railings on it. The front of this is extended out a bit more than the ground, so I should be at maximum. If I go out any further, it should give me the foundation problems, so I want to stay away from those. Now, if you do build something like this and you stick doors on it, make sure that you lock those doors or set them to manual, because if you get any lag while you're in the air, trust me, you can run out a door, and if you're in the middle of the sky, that's not ideal really. So fill this in. It's nice and easy. This is a real easy build. I mean, you can do this smaller, and you can do it out of stone or thatch. I mean, you don't need to be making it in this high level stuff. I tend to, just because like I said, I prefer glass. Being able to see where you're going makes a hell of a difference. Now, unlike my other tutorials, I will demonstrate how this actually works. I know a lot of people that don't know how a Quetz cage actually functions, so we're going to cover that. Look at this keyboard, that key is looking a bit sticky. This is actually my other house computer, so I tend to try and keep it up to scratch, but for some reason that key is on the iffy side. I might look at getting another keyboard. Okay, the chances of running off there. I might still put that last one in. Sometimes I'll leave a railing off, but when you're on a cage, you don't want to accidentally be able to run off the side. Like, I might even stick a second rail around the ramp there, just to limit the chances of jumping off. One of the things you've got to be very careful of if you're taking passengers, do not let them stand. Generally you won't have any problems, but if they decide to go ahead and jump, and you're moving, they will literally jump through the wall. I've had it happen once before. I was taking a guy out to get his first Quetzal, and he jumped clear through the side, middle of the sky. Yeah, there was a bad ending for him. So I'm gonna stick a door in here. Oh, I still needed those walls. Now, all these cages and whatnot that I build, they all end up slightly different. I kind of try things as I go along to make sure I can actually fit through that door frame. Oh. Auto close only. Okay, so as you can see, I've got that 4 space of walls there. I don't have my stone wall. What I'll do is I'll normally have a stone wall sitting in that spot. A Quetzal will fit through that space quite happily, but you put another wall in there and it won't be able to get out. So as soon as it's in here, that's it, it's screwed. And I'm going to bring down and see. Whoops. I'm guessing that I can't place that there and get through. No. It's fine. Okay, we've got a nice big area. I'm going to need some more materials. The actual cage itself is relatively done. I'll have to do some modelling on it to make sure it's easier to see through and looks a bit funkier. So we're going to need water, power, food, plating, those, something to sit on. passengers. I think that should cover it. Guess I can hold it all. This thing's first, let's get the generator down, and I'm going to place that. I wish I could disable snapping on these. I'd love to actually stick it a bit closer up there, but as you can see it sticks through the ramp, which is not really ideal. Sometimes I'll actually build things with a try just to stop it from snapping. Wait. When you trap a Quetz, you'll find that it won't do anything. You can punch it, you can stab it, it will not attack you. Is it snapping or is it... It didn't look like it snapped that time. Okay. Let's fit in here. So I'm going to be able to fit a fridge in. I'm going to fit that on that side. I'd love to jam this into the corner, but with it snapping. So let's embed it a little bit. Put it over there. No. I think I might actually align it with the generator. I'm picky. Man. See, this is why it's annoying building on a moving platform. You're trying to get alignments the way you like them. That works for me. To fridge. I'm gonna bring this across. Access the generator, and I can access the fridge. Come through. Yes, it does. Okay, let's go the other way. Go. Should be able to access them all. Alrighty. Drop a cable into that. Can't see it, but I'm sure it's snapping. Okay, we're going to need some water at some point. Again, this is another thing that I will always add onto my builds. Anything I do, I'll always have water on it. There's nothing worse than getting somewhere in the middle of a tame and you're running out of water and there's nothing around. I think I'll have it in this back corner. Actually, is that the best place? Yeah. Do it from the bottom. Actually, it is. Okay, so it'll be above your head when you walk in, but that's no major. Hide the pipes. That'll fill up next time it rains. Okay, I'm going to want some lighting. I'll just pop that under here as well. No major. As long as it's somewhere on here, it'll light the whole place up. Aircon in. Again, you want some aircon if you're planning to do any taming in the snow area. Sit down in the corner here. And there we go. Oh, I suppose we could do with the railings. I won't bother with the bottom railings. I still gotta put them on. They look good. Okay, so from here we want to do some modelling, and I'm gonna reel. I normally have one on me, so I haven't learnt the engram light since the last time I got wiped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of these no sides. It's going to be awesome. You're in the sky with no floor. Hope you're not scared of heights. And then what I'll do is I will tint them slightly. Let's try 0.5, update. Let's make it 0.7. Like it. I want it to be visible enough that you can see that you're on glass, but still be able to see through it. Oops, got stuck on that rail. Alrighty, so from here let's adjust the models for the sides. And two sides B. Apparently I just fell into the hatch frame. Okay, those are all sorted. What I'm doing is I'm cheating, and I don't like having to go through and do all the modelling. And I'll be keeping that as is. Those are going to stay relatively the same. So three sides D. Means that one is there as well. One's a 3D. One's a 3D. Awesome. I'd like to do a bit of modelling on these just to give it the definition of still being contained. A lot of people don't deal with heights. I'm on the fence. I'm not usually too worried, but there has been times where I've jumped off something in the Quetz cage with invisible walls and panicked because I thought I was falling through it. So I like a little bit of a glass look. Okay, so there we go. We now have ourselves a Quetzal cage. So definitely not something you probably see looking like this. It's probably a lot more basic. This is a little bit more complex of build I think most people bother with. Let's take a couple of those and do some storage. Typing with my left hand across the keyboard funny. I'll go with the middle one, I think. Build one of these as well, just in case. I really want to do a build with metal boxes because they snap together really cool. I've done other structures with them before. I think the best place for them is right there. And let's see how good we really are. That works for me. And put the aircon somewhere else. And is there any gaps anywhere? Really matter where they go as long as they work. Just pop it back there. As you can see, it's currently built into it. It doesn't really matter. I'm pretty dark. Get some gas in that, and we can go looking for a Quetz. So I'll cut from here, and I'll come back once we've got a Quetz, whatever you want to call it, in range. Okay, so we're coming back in the air. I found a Quetz to have a practice team with. This is the first time I've done it without the in-air stam recharge, like I said earlier, so I will need to stop off and actually recharge that. Before I do, I'm actually just going to place a bed, just in case I do something stupid like fall off. So, as you can see on the roof here, I have two flyers. The Pteranodon is the Quetz handbrake, and the RG is for meat runs if it's really needed. I can't imagine I'm going to, but you never know. So first things first, I'm going to need a recharge, and just make sure I know where I lost the Quetz. There it is. So I'm going to fly down close to where it is and just get a bit more stamina. I've had this 135 Quetz hatch from an egg that somebody gave me, and I've just been pumping pure stamina into it, so hopefully it will have enough to actually complete this tame. Otherwise, if the cage moves while it's being tamed, it'll just fall through. So now we've got the stamina up, we've got to catch up with it. So I'll use a bit of stamina doing this. I'm not going to hold the run button down, I'm going to pulse it. I found that this will get you to go faster and doesn't seem to use as much stamina. And what I'm going to do is just try and get the level roughly in line with the Quetz. I just had a little bit of a glitch moment there. My flyers forgot they were on a platform. As you can see, this is the reason why it's made out of glass, so you can actually get around a little bit. You're quite close to the ground. I'm actually going to do a sprint now just to catch up. And it's in the cage, I just need to get a wall up. There we go. So we now have a Quetzal in the cage. And hopefully I remembered to... Yes, I did get my long neck out. So this guy is a level 65. So So we'll try and come out. Thankfully I remembered to put my birds on passive before. And basically all you do is just sit here and shoot it. I actually prefer it when it's up in the air a little bit more. I prefer high level, like Quetzes from up higher, because then you don't have to worry about bugs. Because the last thing you want is for a Mega Neura or something to spot your Quetz and come and bite it and cause it to move. You don't want it to fall through the platform while it's unconscious, because then it'll just fall to the ground. You can use this kind of method for catching a Quetz and like designating where it's going to fall. Like at the moment it can't go anywhere, so I could trank it and, you know, I could prepare the ground underneath it for catching it. The first Quetz is always the hardest to catch. I was lucky enough to get given an egg on this server, which turned out to be a really lucky egg because I got a pigeon pair out of it, male and female 136. So that's how many levels it's had on it, so it's a 173 now. So all the points have gone into stamina. I think I put 2 points into weight. I think I balanced out the weight to about 1,500. Now I've got Rex Kibble for this tame, so it should speed things up, and it's on a higher rate taming server, so the odds are stacked in my favour. There we go. As you can see, he slides to the front of the cage. Run away. Got the kibble here. I would guess 15 should be plenty for this size. It's only a little guy. And the joys of Quetz taming, now I can pretty much just fluff around. There's nothing really else to do. Put a trough in here. I usually have a trough on, put it up there by the... I usually have a trough just to take care of these guys when I'm out and about. So generally what happens is if I run out of kibble, because I've done runs before where I've picked up 2 or 3 Quetzes and just completely run out of kibble, and what I'll do is I'll grab the RG and I will go, and you can't leave render distance. If you stay within render distance, you can go kill some large predators and get some prime meat. And when you're on a high tame server, prime's, you know, it's definitely worth getting. But if you leave render, the cage will de-render and the unconscious Quetz will just fall through it. So be warned, you can leave the cage, but you can't go far. And great, I can't even see what my stamina is at. That's unfortunate, and chances are there it is. Stamina's perfect, it's nice and high. Didn't use much catching this guy. I just hope I have enough narcotics on me. I brought 100 with me, but I can't remember how many I needed last time. That's the thing, different servers, different rates. You never know quite what you need. He's going to bog around for a little bit until he feeds first, and then we'll know how long it'll take. As you can see, all it took was one little wall to stop it from getting through. There's not a huge amount involved in this sort of thing. The upstairs platform, I made that as big as possible because if you've ever landed on a platform with an RG near a railing and jumped off, chances are you probably know that you'll jump right over the railing into nothing, which isn't that great. We're getting our first lot of water. Yeah, every time I do a build, everyone always says that I put in so much water. I've always got taps everywhere. I hate being caught with no water. I've always got a ridiculous amount set around the place. And, oh, he's had his first feed, and that's 30%, so he's going to get 4 feeds out of him, and then he'll be done. Okay, 32 levels, 97. We shouldn't lose any effectiveness as long as I don't accidentally punch him. Like I said, this is mostly a waiting game, and we don't even need to remove that wall to get him out of here, because once we start moving, once he's tamed, he'll just float through the wall, which is ideal. Apparently I did a really bad job of placing that metal box, because it's actually sticking out the back wall. We've got aircon in here, so we're nice and cozy. We've got house buff. We could do this in the snow, and we don't even have to leave the cage. The other thing that you can do with this is catch a Quetzal. If you find like really low level ones, catch them, block them in here, and then just get your pike out and just pike them. And you can use that to top up your fridge. So kill the baby, or like the low level Quetzes, stick their prime in the fridge with some preserving salts, and you can make that last for a reasonable amount of time, and then you basically just feed it to them as they need it. It's quite a convenient way of taming. I've literally tamed hundreds of Quetzals with a cage like this. Each cage is always slightly different depending on what problems I've had in the past. I like to change it up a little bit each time, just to get a bit of variance, otherwise you're building the same thing over and over and over again. But, you know, when you've got something that works, why change it too much? We'll let him finish taming up. We're actually in, you can see a Bronto over there, the Articaden. Him and one of the others are building a giant maze just beyond that, and they're going to do a server event with everybody to try and beat their maze. I've seen some of it, and I've given pointers for some of it. It's going to be nasty. There's a few real annoying little hurdles in there. It should be fun. That's one of the reasons I came over to settle on their streaming server. I got sent an invite to do some of their server events, so I thought I'd make a presence here, and I've not just made a presence, I've kind of moved in. I don't know, I quite like the server. I don't actually see the people here very often. They're usually off in different time zones. I'm not taking too long. Now, what's the bit? I didn't bring any meat with me. Two more feeds. So I think the most annoying thing about the Quetzal tames is the boredom of what you do once it's out. Sort of sit here, twiddle your thumbs. I've had people offer quite a few times, "Oh, come help tame it." It's like, I hate to tell you, but there's not really much to it. It's not exciting. It's not like where you've got to fight off T-Rexes and all manner of other creatures just to save your tame. This is taming in luxury. I'm not getting too much lag really. This is about as far away from me as possible. It's hosted in America. LA is the closest hosting, but this is definitely not an LA host. The pings aren't too bad. I think it's 64 at the moment, so that's actually pretty good. If you actually base it on the Steam ping, then it's much higher. I think it's like 225 or something. Yeah, if this is all, if I hadn't tinted all this, it's rather disconcerting looking down. You get that feeling like, did I pick up that wall by accident? I've made glass floors and things like this before. It's a little disconcerting. I get used to it because I use it all the time, but when I have other people jump on to have a go, it tends to freak people out a little. I'm looking for stamina. Oh, barely even using anything. Oh, I don't even think I needed that much stamina on here after all. And it doesn't look like we're going to need any narcotics, that's for sure. So I would say a perfect Quetzal, we probably would need a little bit of narcotic. But looking at it at the moment, it's pretty reasonable. I probably won't be keeping this particular Quetz. I'm hatching higher levels than this, so I may pass it on to somebody else. Can't imagine needing a lower level, unless it's got some really good stats. I won't know until it's tamed up as to if it's got anything particularly nice. You'll always have the fear that it's going to slide out. Like it'll move around, and sometimes it'll slide from one side to the other and then back. Don't worry about it, as long as the cage itself, like, it can rotate on its, like, with the Quetz flapping its wings and rotate on the spot as much as it likes, but it won't fall through. As long as the Quetz doesn't actually move sideways or forwards or anything like that, nothing actually budges it. If something attacks it, then you've always got a chance of it going through. So there we go, all tamed up. Perfect tame, well, perfect for the level it was. And to get out of the cage, what we'll do is we'll hopefully not lag through the floor. So as you can see, it's inside. All we do is literally just drive forward, it'll go out the back and fly home. So that's how we do it. Nice and simple. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps you tame up your own. Oh, there's another one over there. What do we got? Stuck on the floor. There's times like this where you, follow distance. Should have adjusted it. Level 70. Oh, it's a slightly better one than this one. Let's just change the follow distance. Best. Go away. Please. Like, really? Oh, and it just consumed all my grapples. So, this is annoying. I won't cut just yet because I'm assuming people are going to find this amusing. Turn off ally looking. Oh, I am so stuck. I don't even know where I'm stuck. It's at the outside. They're wandering. go. Okay, so as I was saying before, if you find ones that you don't really want to tame, then you can just kill them. I'll do just that. Oops. As you can see, I still had that door in the front. You can get away with not having an entrance, because it will just glitch inside. I prefer not to have it in there generally. This passive starts everything. Now, this is only a level 70, so I'm not particularly worried. Just Piker. I want a high level one to spawn, so if I get rid of her, then I might get something a bit better. As you can see, this is easy. This takes a lot of the effort out of it. Come on. There he goes. There she goes. And you can go in the fridge. So there we have it. Nice and easy Quetz taming. If you've got the time to build one and a Quetzal with a saddle to be able to do it, I'd suggest having a go with it. It's definitely an interesting way to go. But take care and enjoy your building.